All right. So I'm Dylan Talley. I'm with Lazarus. We build foundation models to help the world solve, or the world, or clients solve the world's hardest problems. Today we're going to talk about insider threats. This is a topic that is plaguing both public and private sector. For those who don't know, insider threats are essentially where bad actors infiltrate organizations for malicious or fraudulent intent, and it really affects the ability for organizations to deliver on mission. This is usually stealing IP, using fake credentials to be able to access core and sensitive data systems, and traditional background checks don't catch these things nowadays. There's really complex, interconnected global networks of bad actors that are able to find ways to infiltrate organizations. As employees leave, as new employees join, it's becoming more difficult to actually find if people are real or not. And this is affecting corporations and government at large. One of the kind of major issues around this is financial loss, issues around legal issues, actually having your IP dispelled into places where you don't want it to be. But let's get into what we've actually done to address this. So we've built a capability that's both proactive and intelligent to detect bad actors, and that's our agentic orchestration platform, Atlas. Essentially, Atlas takes in a bunch of data, structures it into a way that can be actioned. It takes those actions and produces a result. This includes open source and government-owned data systems, and Atlas really acts as a symphony conductor. It's a core orchestrator that will take a generalized task, break it down into subtasks, determine what tools are needed to execute those tasks, and produce a consistent result. And this is across all different forms of data, visual, image, text, handwriting, everything you can think of. Being able to find the inconsistencies between all those disparate data sources to find things like employee history, inconsistencies, fabricated credentials, and bad intentions and red flags. So let's get into an actual example. I'm going to talk about something that's pretty cool and an interesting use case that we're working with many clients on now. Atlas was given just simply an ID and said, verify if this is actually the person. It looks kind of shady. For anyone who's seen a South Dakota license, it has a mountain in the background. Someone had looked at it and said, I don't think there's a Mount Rushmore in the background, so you should do an investigation. Very quickly, it became clear that this person is not the same person. There's small, quick inconsistencies, like the eye color on the ID is blue, the person in the photo has brown eyes, but there's even more than that. So what Atlas did is started with facial comparison and took the name and did an open web search of the real individual to identify if their image or likeness was anywhere on the web. One of the really cool things and interesting things is this real individual, Mr. Smith, liked to go to his town hall and complain frequently. I think it was weekly. And for folks who know, that's all posted on video, in transcripts, all in the public domain. Atlas actually didn't have access to watch YouTube videos in its toolkit, but when it was going through its analysis, it said, I've gotten to a point in my review where it would be really helpful if I could watch a YouTube video. Could you give me a tool to watch a YouTube video? And Atlas prompted that to the end user. Then a tool was given to Atlas. Atlas watched the video and was able to absolutely identify these are not the same people in the photo and the actual ID. So then the question comes, who the hell is this other guy that's in the ID, and why is this all going on? So what Atlas did is it started with a facial comparison hunt, and it looked at the image, and it started doing an open web scraping. And what it actually found, can anyone identify this flag? No? Thank you. It is one of those Koreas, specifically the north one. The image that they found online was of this person in the ID that was at a skating event in Russia, holding a North Korean flag surrounded by a bunch of North Korean foreign nationals. Interesting. Okay, but who hasn't held a flag that they don't know exactly what it is? So that's not inconclusive, right? So then Atlas started looking at all the image backgrounds. There is a company called Bon Aqua. It's a water company. If you haven't heard of it, no surprise, I haven't either. It's only sold in Russia and North Korea. Again, another indicator, but it's not fully clear yet. So Atlas then did another check. It looked at the vegetation in the background of the image. It identified that vegetation only grows specifically in regions of North Korea. So we've got a lot of indicators now that this person is up to something. They're probably in North Korea or have spent most of their time in North Korea. So the question is then, what is this whole interconnected web of this individual that is in South Dakota that's a real person and an individual likely in North Korea using their ID? What we actually found is a connected person that has a very colorful criminal past and identity theft that is related to the real ID owner. And what we were able to map is a very interconnected web of information that shows that not only is this a real person that their ID is being used, but it also identified the fraudulent actor. One of the most interesting pieces around this is the ability to correlate all these different pieces of data and identify what the reason for this actual case. So for people who haven't heard, there is this concept called wage mole, which essentially someone from North Korea or an adversarial state will be able to go steal someone's ID, go work at a company, not to steal IP. They'll go there just to work and generate money that will then go back to the host country. And this is what this individual was partaking in. Our real actor here, our real Mr. Smith, had some financial problems. He was approached by someone who said, if you open this laptop and turn on a few things and then press a few buttons, we will pay you in perpetuity. Quickly after actually turning on the laptop, a month later, they ceased communication. They kept using his ID. The more interesting piece is usually these are in interconnected rings. So remember that photo at the skating rink in North Korea? Atlas said, well, I wonder if these other people are involved in these same activities. I should probably look into that. Fortunately that we caught them, but unfortunately it found that two of the individuals from same countries were actually doing the same activities, but they were on U.S. soil working for major defense contractors. And then this led to uncovering an interconnected web that, if you're interested in learning more, you can come speak to us at the booth. We can't share all of it on stage. It's an ongoing investigation, all that kind of stuff. But it shows the power of being able to correlate different pieces of data and the threat that we're all up against. Without the right tools, you're not able to address things like this. So what did Atlas really do? It transformed this process from something that would take weeks or months into being completed in just 10 hours. And this transformed the entire process flow from an objective all the way to subtask breaking down, orchestrating the right tools, and then generating an overall summary that then tells you, this is an issue, now you have the capability to address it. Again, we are Lazarus. We build foundation models to solve the world's hardest problems. We work with the DoD, the IC, and major insurance companies, and we would love to talk with anyone who found this interesting. Thank you all for your time.